Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Brian from USA Cards and another Dallas card show in the books. Um, this one was a little different because they had it on 4th of July weekend, so holiday weekend, a couple weeks before the National. There were some guys that I noticed were not there. Some of the big dealers were there, but it just had a feel of not quite at capacity. And then on trade night, they made some major changes. So they put everybody in the first row of down the hotel hallway. So if you've been to a Dallas show, you know that as you're coming in off the parking lot, that whole main hallway, as you're walking toward the lobby, used to be available for the trade night. And then that whole lobby area, the Starlight room, the big room off to the left, that was one of the perks of having a table in those rooms, was that you got to have your table for you got a dealer spot basically for trade night. And then it would turn left down that hallway going toward the main showroom. All that space was available. Tables were lined up on both sides. That's the way it has been for the past handful of shows. Well, this time, no more hallway setups, at least not at first. They had everybody right where you check in across from that restaurant. There's that hallway that has the elevator, and then it has a bunch of conference rooms if you keep going down that hallway. They're, the size of a living room maybe. There were 6 or 7 of them, and that's where they put everybody for trade night. The good part was you had a table and you had chairs, and there was all the space you could want. I don't think there was anybody that wanted to be set up that couldn't be set up. That was a good part. The bad part was it was hot, so hot. There was no air in those rooms, or at least not enough to keep the throngs of people that were moving in and out cool. So it was different. I don't know. So we set up at the trade night. We sat down and had a little spot. And then when we got up and walked down to the main hallway, there were some people, especially in that lobby area, that had set up. So it's like, people couldn't be kept from setting up in the hallway as much as they tried it. And then the Starlight room and I guess it's the Starlight room, that big, huge room, that was still there. But there were less people in there because everybody was, at the other end of the hotel in the space that was designated for trade night. So anyway, that was different, but it seemed to be just on a vibe check, or like how full was it, how hot was the show, or whatever. It seemed normal to me, as normal as the last handful have. And so yeah, I think people were really gearing up for National. Dealers didn't want to really budge. I heard this a lot. Well, the National's coming up, so I know I'll get it there, talking about the price they had on their cards or whatever. Or it was like a take-in show for the dealers more than it was a selling show. They wanted to take in as much as they could. Everybody was buying. So that was probably to be expected. Went with my friend Steve and his son Brendan. My son tagged along too. And so, yeah, let's see what notable happened. I don't think anything of note really happened. No, I can't really think of anything. I know my friend Josh is going to watch this. Everybody was asking about Josh. Where's Josh? Where's Josh? Josh moved to North Carolina. So, yeah, Josh, they're asking about you, man. Had like a 20-minute conversation with Rohan, and this is just for you local people. Rohan's the nicest kid. So I don't think Rohan watches any of my channels, but it's Rohan Cards on IG. He's a great guy. He stopped and we talked about him kickboxing, and we talked about going to a small school versus going to a large school, and he just was the friendliest person, and I enjoyed that conversation with you, Rohan, if you do see this by chance. Okay, so I guess let's get into some of the great cards that I saw. Purple Tyson PMG. Not sure what the price on it was. I just snapped a pic. I think it was, I don't know, 3 or 4K. It's a crazy card. Shout out to Big Ken. I know he has that card. There was a Lamar Silver Prism. Of course, these 2018 Prism Silvers. Low pop. I think the pop's 29 or so in the 10s. I don't know about Lamar. I think that his market is probably as low as it's been in the past 6 months, but interesting. Just ultimately decided not to make a move on that one. Man, I have some hair bothering me. This was interesting. So it's a Colossal National Treasures game used Larry Bird. It's a great patch. It's great auto. I don't know why it's not graded, and the ask on it was $1,100, and it would have been probably something that I would have tried to flip and make money on, just because I don't really collect Larry Bird. But obviously, this is a card that should be graded, and the dealer that had this knows that. It was Zach Gutterman, and so I didn't pour over this thing, but I'm sure it's been graded and cracked out of like an 8 or something is my guess. But still, if you're a collector and you're not worried about grades as much and you're a bird guy, it's be an interesting piece. Next, we have, this card keeps finding me. New dealer had it this time, and the price he had on it was way lower than the guy that's had it at the last 4 or 5 shows, but still, it's a sticker auto. He's a great player, but I don't know. I ultimately just snapped the pick and move on, but I do love that card. Out of 50, Calvin Johnson. James Wood has been super hot. James Wood hit his first home run of his MLB career, I think Saturday, either Friday or Saturday. No, it was Saturday. So he was hot. He was hot at the show. This guy was at like 1,700 on, and the last PSA 10 did 2K. So he could turn out to be a great price if he stays hot, but the math just doesn't add up. A min gem typically is 50 to 60% of a PSA 10. Now on a hot player and a blue Bowman first, it might tick up a little bit, but I don't know. I think 1750 was high, and I'm not in the prospect game anymore. It's just too volatile. This was interesting. The pop count on these Montana 9s is in the thousands. So they're always being auctioned. They're always going up for sale. This looks really clean. In the new holders seem to bring about $200 to $300 more than the old holders. This guy had a fair price on it. He was actually willing to do 19, but I love this card for the nostalgia factor, but nothing that I need. So I just was interested in showing you guys. Here's one that is really cool, but the guy told me, he's like, I'm way high on it. So I think he's at $1,200 on it, which is really high for no auto. Great patch. He even had another one that had the bottom of the Kansas City logo. I do have that pick. I'll throw it up here. Hopefully, I always say I'll throw stuff up and I forget, but hopefully I'll put it up. Cool, but I just didn't see that being in my collection. If it had an auto, maybe, possibly, but that was an auto price for a non-auto card, and he admitted. Check this out: the true Bowman first red to 5 Gunnar Henderson. Rumor at the show was this sold for $92K, and the new seller had 100 on it. So imagine buying this for $92K and hoping to make $8K the next day. Sounds like a risky way to use $92,000. Could just be me. Most boring card in the hobby. Does help that it's got a gold 9.5 label on it. Still, My son's friend Brendan my friend's son Brendan was looking at this. He's got the red. If you follow this channel at all, you know he pulled the red Bobby Witt, the true red Bobby Witt. He's shopping it. Had tons of interest. That was probably the highlight of the show. Him sort of fielding interests on that red Bobby Witt. I think he would take $22K net cash, by the way, if you're interested. But he was looking at possibly doing a deal in which he moved that red Witt and some other stuff for this, because I think this does around 40. But I don't think he realized it was that high. Those 9.5s, man, they're up there. Check this card out. I asked the price on this, and he looked at me, and he sort of like rolled his eyes, and he said 500. Guarantee you I could have probably got this for 3 or 4. But even if you put $10 down, you might as well just kiss that $10 goodbye. From everything that I've read, and I reread up on Wander Franco because I wanted to know, is there any shot? This used to be like a 20K card. This is huge. It's almost cool just for the history of, well, it's not cool, I guess, considering the circumstances, but man, if he ever re-entered the MLB, it'd be like the gold rush, you know, all the people going west for gold, all the people going back and getting Wanders. This was cool. Cheap, upper deck. One of the cards I always strived to get and put in my binder, the 3D Nolan Ryan. I think this in a 10 is like $60-$80, not much. Cool card just for memory's sake. And then look at this, is Ion Prism Silver 10 at one point did 8K, I want to say, is as high as it got. Down to 350, and even this at 350 was high. This card is sold as recently as, well, in June it sold for 250. So, gosh, there's another card to get just to have and just to talk about. I mean, if there's one card that defines the COVID, and this is debatable, it'd be an interesting conversation. Let me just say, this is definitely one of the cards that defines the COVID bubble. This and the Luca Prism Silver. It'd be cool to have this, but again, you can wait, and this will be this will be 150 at some point, in the not too distant future. I'm sad to say. And then finally, check this monster out. Golly. This is the best Micah Parsons card out there. 101 Shield NT rookie RPA. It's just, I wanted to make a trade into this, but they said they were taking it to the National, which I can understand, and going to try to get cash for it. The guy that owns it's local, but the guy that owns it's notorious for being a collector and really liking cool cards like this. Who can blame him? I don't know if 35 is out of bounds on this. I don't know if it's about where it should be. I don't know if it's half of what he really would take. I mean, it's a one of one of one of the most exciting young players in all of football, let alone the Cowboys. So I don't know. It seems though like if this was a decent price, it'd be already sold. But I just marveled. I even asked if he'd take it out so I could hold it. All right, and that I think is about it for what I saw. So let's get into what I got. Really not much, to be honest. I'll show you this. So I found this. Let me see how this is showing up. Yeah, this is a great. Look at that. These 2011 Topps Update Diamond Anniversary cards they're about like the white sparkle as far as the actual sparkle of it. Dale Murphy was one of my favorites growing up. Powder Blues, one of my favorite uniforms for the Braves, and this was $5. So Interestingly, this may or may not have sparked my friend Brendan to pick up a 2011 Mike Trout Diamond Anniversary. Yeah, 2011 Mike Trout Diamond Anniversary rookie. And he got a steal on it. It's coming from Chief, I can't remember, Chief, somebody, whatever. Coming from a chief that does sports cards on IG. I'll throw a picture of the seller's IG and the card right here. But yeah, I'm giving credit for the Dale Murphy for sparking that pickup, because when I picked this up, Brendan was like, yeah, I've been wanting the Mike Trout of that. So we did a little shopping online, found one, and yeah, it's going to be coming in the mail in a couple days. He actually is shipping it to me, and I'm going to hand deliver it to him, so I'll have that mail day. As long as he lets me, gives me permission to bust open that package, I'll have that mail day, and I'll put it on the channel. But I know Brendan's a watcher, so Brendan, you'll see the mail being open. You should let me do that just for the channel. Think about it. All right, and then next, I had to. This dude's too good. I mean, he reminds me of Dwight Gooden. When Dwight Gooden was coming up, although Dwight Gooden was doing it at 19. Skeens is doing it at, what, 22, 23? He might even be better than Gooden was, and that's saying a lot. But just the base version. But the thing on these, if you do sort of decide to go into the Skeens market, even though he's a pitcher, look for a clean auto, because a lot of his are thin in spots, especially on this long line on the P. And whenever anybody has a bad auto, that's where I really like BGS 95s with a 10 auto grade, especially if they're half of what a PSA 10 does, because you've got the auto grade right there. But yeah, Skeens is a monster. I picked him up in my fantasy team this year. It's a dynasty league, so there's a lot of reasons I hope he stays healthy, but I wanted to make, my son likes Skeens too, so this was sort of a family pickup. And then, so again, if you're a follower of the channel, you know that this went out the door the other day, and I made like a $400 profit on it. And then she becomes the first WNBA rookie to record a triple-double. And she beat the New York Liberty, who is the top-seeded WNBA team. She beat them at home, and the Fever are now in the last playoff spot. So her market could not be any hotter right now. I think that the Fever were down by double digits with like 6 minutes in the fourth and came back and beat them. It was a humongous game for Fever fans, for her market. She's actually on her way to Dallas in about a week. Tickets, I'm sure, are going to be crazy. But the guy I got this from, I don't think realized what had happened. I don't think he gave me such a good deal on that he couldn't have known that she had just broken that record, because there's one at auction that's already like $400 and something more than what I got this at. So it's just a decision: do I make more on this, or do I tuck it away for a little while? Because I mean, there's people talking about her being, and this is people, the Michael Jordan of like that type of an athlete, that type of a difference maker, that type of a personality, that type of a market presence. I don't know, man. Could be. I know when she is playing well, she gets crowds, she gets attention. So, yeah, she comes back home, and we'll see what happens to her there. All right, and then the last one I have is this. I don't even think I've ever seen this card online, because I check frequently for Randy Moss Flawless Game Used. The only thing that I've ever seen out there was a vertical one, but it just kind of disappeared, and maybe someone sold it offline, but there's a horizontal one that is at like 3K or best offer, but I'm staying away from horizontal. It's game used right there. I don't know if you can see, but it says game used. So of note here is that this was sealed. I'll show you a picture. This was sealed. I never crack out sealed stuff, never, just as a rule. It just automatically takes value off of the card. But the original case, right down here where this loop crosses, on the original case, it had, on the inside of the case, it had some gunk on it or something, and it made it look like the auto was spotty. So before I picked this up, I looked and made sure that the auto was clean, and I just was like, man, I can't stare at that auto, and I'll break it out of the seal because I want the auto to present as it is, bold, right? I wish those spots would have been on the outside. I hated breaking the seal, but I don't care. This goes into the PC, and I wanted to, like I said, just display that the auto was actually all there in bold. I love it. Love this card. So just sort of update you on the Randy Moss PC. One that I just recently started, but kind of was able to find some cool stuff. Started with this at the last Dallas show. Then went here. We all know about that if you watch this channel at all. Recently got this in a trade with Carmine's cards. Then this one, well actually then it was this one. Can we see it all? Here, I'll just do this. Then it was this one, the refractor. And then this one this weekend. So there is the current Freak PC. All nice stuff. And then the last thing I'll show you, just because it is really cool looking, is they have, so the graded guards, they have come out with a new version. They're metallic colored. So the metallic orange, I had to put the Tiger. I put this Tiger Luka out on trade night and put 16K on it. And I had a guy say, I'll offer you 14K, but I got to go take care of something. I'll be right back. And I was going to counter him at 15. And I thought I was going to move this for a minute, but he never came back. But I did pick this. That just looks so sweet. This is such a stunning and striking card. A lot of people really, really love it. And of course, it's a parallel that a lot of people will scoff at or whatever, but it might be one of the most beautiful Luka cards out there. And it matches the tattoo, the Tiger tattoo that he has. So, and then you put it in a metallic orange graded guard, and it's even better. But that's it. Another Dallas card show in the books. It was fun. Had a great time. Thanks for going, Steve and Brendan. And thanks for watching this, you guys. We'll see you on the next one.